When my dad and I were driving Pacific Coast Highway, we stumbled on this little gem known as the Kruse Rhododendron State Natural Reserve. This area doesn't get very many visitors, but it was a beautiful hiking trail with flowers, redwoods, and awesome views. It ended up being one of my dad's favorite parts of the PCH road trip, so I decided to make a standalone video to share it with you. Also, if you're interested in when the flowering is, it's usually sometime between mid-April and mid-June. Here's the short 2-mile trail we did at the Kruse Rhododendron State Natural Reserve, and let me know what you think in the comments. To get to the reserve, you have to turn off Pacific Coast Highway on Kruse Ranch Road and drive for about a mile. This road is dirt, but it was easily passable with a 2-wheel drive car when we went. There's a small parking area that holds about 8 cars, but we only saw one other person with us. Today we're south of Point Arena in the Kruse Rhododendron State Reserve. The reserve has 2 main trails, the Chinese Gulch Trail and the Phillips Gulch Trail. Both of the trails are 1 mile each way and they connect with each other at the end, so you can make it into one big loop that's 2 miles. There's also a short rhododendron loop which is only 1/10 of a mile. That's a great quick stop on a road trip if the flowers are in bloom. There's some up in the trees above us right now. I kind of expected them to be down lower, but it kind of looks like they're up above you in the trees. After reading about it online, mid-May was the best time to come, and we were here in early June, so we missed it just by a little bit. So once they fall off the trees, then they land on the ground. You can kind of see them as you're walking around. Almost immediately we were greeted with some flowers. It wasn't as many as I expected, but it was cool to still see some on the hike. Wow, look at this trail, has redwoods. The land here was part of a large ranch that was established in the 1880s. The Kruse family managed the ranch until this part of the land was eventually donated to the California State Park System in 1933. There's a nice place to just take a break and soak in these massive trees. Of course, the flowers are the main draw here, but the reserve also has Douglas fir and second growth redwoods. If you want to cut the trail short, there are a couple of footbridges where you can take a small trail back to the road and then walk back to the parking area. We're only a quarter mile into the trail and I've already stopped caring about the rhododendrons because the trail is so beautiful. This is definitely one to do. The Chinese Gulch part of the trail goes up and down over a few different hillsides, giving you views down into the valleys and up towards the trees. Every once in a while you'd come across a plant with some flowers blooming. So we found more rhododendron plants and we're not sure if we're too early or too late. Honestly, it looks like we might be too early, but either way, it's still pretty impressive whenever we do see some of them. We're a half mile in and we're starting the main uphill section of this trail. There's some switchbacks, but it is in the shade. This section has uphill, and then the section at the very end as you're walking back up to your car are the 2 main elevation sections. The trail's well maintained, so it must get some traffic, but we didn't see any other people, only one person at the parking area. So it looks like we might be early just based on the fact that they're budding right here. This is the largest collection of rhododendron we've seen so far. Pretty cool. There's like 8 or 9 different buds on this tree. We're surrounded by rhododendrons trees right now with basically no blooms on them, but it would be pretty incredible if they were blooming. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been here during a full bloom, as I imagine you'd be walking under bridges of rhododendron. We're about halfway through the trail. This has been beautiful. Some flowers, amazing redwood trees, shade, light rays, everything you could want in a trail. We're officially at the 1 mile mark and we're crossing the road and heading on the Phillips Gulch Trail back to the car. You can also go this way and it's a mile as well, but might as well do a trail since it's the same distance. This trail makes me feel a little bit like Jurassic Park. Look at the moss-covered trees and the light. See pops and see how high these flowers are? I didn't know that they would be so high up when I first came on this trail. They are way up in the trees on some of them. Check out this light ray coming in. Pops is walking into the light ray. Abducted by aliens. That's so cool. I originally thought the light rays were from dirt that was being kicked up by the cars that were driving by us on the dirt road, but when we later got back to PCH, we realized that there was a small fire in the area and this was actually smoke that we were seeing. During this portion of the trail, you pretty much go downhill for 3/4 of a mile, and then in the last quarter of the mile is straight uphill back to the car. There were multiple footbridges down here as well, and a lot more redwoods than the upper part of the trail, but a lot fewer flowers. Here's just a few more shots of this stunning and dramatic forest. This is one of those family circles we learned about yesterday, where the main tree dies, but all the other ones rise around it in a circle. We're almost down the switchbacks to the bottom of this area, and then it's one steep climb back out to the car. Look at this family circle example right here. You go in here, you can see the base, and then look at how tight it is with all these trees around here.
That is crazy how tight that is.
Here it is from the other side. There is nothing getting in there. Starting the final uphill push to the car. Man, look at that view. How do you leave that? It is just so crazy. Look, I love Southern California, but it doesn't hold a candle to some of these Northern California trails. Finished the uphill and we have made it back to our car. Pops has a comment about this trail.
I love this trail. It's like a hidden gem. You feel like it's somewhat untouched at times. Beautiful redwoods, beautiful fern, and then the moss all over everything, and then these cute little bridges along the way that you cross. It was delightful. The rhododendrons, there are some, maybe we were just here at the right time, but they were still enough that was really beautiful where you were looking for them and you were rewarded every so often. Highly recommend this hike.
I agree, it was a great trail. Let us know what you think in the comments and we'll see you on the next video.